Sapiegat?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Justice Gaines. I am speaking.
Welcome to the committee, and you have like 4 minutes to do your thing.
Great, thank you. I'll be speaking in favor of this bill. I work with Rhode Island Jobs with Justice. I want to say first to respond to some things that labor is not united on this issue. The CWA as well as the SEIU National has released statements in favor of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe and their opposition to this pipeline. So labor is not in favor, is not all together on this issue. I just want to make that clear. 2 years ago, the council signed or passed a resolution that supported divesting out of fossil fuels. And so some of the things we're hearing today is that this is not a local issue, so we shouldn't deal with it. And then we have these slippery slope arguments about if we start divesting here so pinpointed, what are we going to do? But we have to pay attention to the slippery slope we're already on. Indigenous people's rights are already being squashed. Their burial grounds and much of their land has already been squandered. I want to look around the people in the room holding these signs about we support Citizens Bank. If someone had said in order to get a job, they had to uproot your grandmother's grave, would you still take that job? If someone said that in order for you to be able to be able to work, they had to desecrate your church, would you still take that job?
Nobody's saying that.
Except that's what's happening, right? And so that's the thing. And and that's the problem with this pipeline. And it's not only this pipeline. Citizens isn't only involved with the Dakota Access Pipeline. They're also invested in Bayou Bridge Pipeline in Louisiana and the Trans-Pecos Pipeline in Texas and the Marina East Pipeline in Pennsylvania. There are multiple pipeline projects that they're involved in, and this isn't about energy. This is about how these pipelines are being used to desecrate indigenous land, as well as create environmental hazards that they're well aware of and that they don't really care too much about. During the pipeline protests back in December, within, I believe it was like 1,500 miles, there was a huge oil spill that the company covered up because they didn't want that getting out while there was these pipeline protests going around. And we have to think about the people involved with this project, or the people involved with Dakota Access. Because the reason we need jobs is because we need people to live. If these pipeline projects are desecrating people's lives, destroying people's access to clean water, destroying people's access to their own spirituality, destroying people's access to have a life, then the jobs don't mean much, right? And there are ways that we can create jobs that don't also desecrate other people. And I really beg you to put people first in this, put people first and put people over profit, put people over these corporations. Please, I beg of you to take into consideration this bill and really think about who is being left behind and who is not being considered if this pipeline project goes through. And the reason this relates back to Providence is because this is about, we can't just be, oh, this doesn't affect our local, so we're gonna let other people be desecrated. We've already signed resolutions about fossil fuels in the past. This council has done that. And we really need to be paying attention to how can we in Providence affect change and affect how indigenous people's rights are recognized, how environmentally we can protect our citizens. This is gonna come back to Providence regardless, right? Global warming, indigenous rights are not things that are only in South Dakota. They also happen here, and we do need to pay attention to that.
Thank you.